We got a reaction that's coming in terms of the comments that came in from the road minister. He said that in fact that the government will allow to manufacture vehicles running entirely on ethanol. I think we have a reaction that's coming in. The management of Shakti Sugar, in fact, joins us currently. Mr. Manikam joins us on the phone line. Hi, Mr. Manikam. Thanks so much for joining in. We just got those statements that are coming in from the road minister that there could be manufacture of vehicles that could run entirely on ethanol. What's currently the contribution that comes in from the ethanol business, and what kind of potential revenue generation can you see on the back of this?
See, right now, if you look at ethanol, about 10% blend is what has been allowed. And we can have vehicles which can go up to 85% some modification on the injection system. Okay. I think that will be very good for the cities of Bombay, Delhi, and all the metros to go into ethanol-powered vehicles. Will really make a difference in terms of pollution and probably have a very clean air.
Okay. But is it feasible? Do we have enough ethanol production in the industry to allow for this? And how soon do you think it could be a reality?
See, basically the government of India will have to link the price of ethanol with the minimum statutory price for cane. Today the cane is at 2,300. So roughly we should be having about 50 to 52 rupees as a price of ethanol. If that's the case, definitely we'll be able to produce as much as required. Basically, the signal that government has to give is that if you convert sugarcane directly from cane into ethanol, whatever the cost of production based on the FRP, if they're willing to pay that price, I think we will not have a problem in supplying the quantity of ethanol required by the market. All right,
Mr. Manikam, that's about ethanol. But what about the news that we got overnight in terms of the cess going up from around 25 to around 200 rupees per quintal? What kind of impact does it have on you?
Not much really. I think this is going to be passed on to the consumer, and it's the government trying to balance its own balance sheet. Whatever subsidy they want to give, they want to take it back from the consumer, which is fine with us. And so for the industry, it's going to be revenue neutral.
Okay. But anyway, sugar prices are so subdued. Do you think that you will be able to pass on a price hike?
They've actually taken an enabling provision. I think they probably will be not passing on the entire 200 rupees today. But the market has moved up by about 250 rupees in the last...
Okay, we've snapped that connection with Mr. Manikam, but as the street has been talking about that yes, cess has gone up, which is technically negative for sugar companies, but they're a little hopeful that they will be able to pass it on. Maybe not entirely. He was just touching upon the point that you may not be able to raise your cess suddenly to about 200 rupees per quintal from the current 25 rupees, but considering that sugar prices have gone up, they're hopeful at least that they will be able to pass on. On ethanol, Shakti Sugars was telling us that ethanol blending I think is currently up to 10%, but it can go up to close to about 85% for auto fuel. Most of the sugar companies, as we've been highlighting, produce ethanol, and this is all in reaction to the statement which has come in from the road minister that the government could allow companies to will allow companies to manufacture vehicles which are running entirely on ethanol. So the demand for ethanol would go up. That's the reason why sugar companies are moving up. Gajanan Nabar, the CEO and MD of Praj Industries, now joins in to talk about it. Mr. Nabar, if you've heard the statement which has come in from the road minister, the government to allow companies to manufacture vehicles running entirely on ethanol. How much of a positive will this be for a company like Praj Industries, and do you see this feasible and realistically possible?
Oh, certainly. I think this is, again, one more step towards making India self-reliant with, the local fuel, which is ethanol. And I think government is very serious about this, and they're implementing this blending program and have taken a lot of steps. And I think this is one more step towards the right direction, we believe. And I think, in Brazil, they are running buses like this for many, many years. So I think buses and cars. So it's definitely possible. Of course, there is a gestation period of getting this whole infrastructure up and getting it ready and starting to run. But I think it's a very, very welcome step on behalf of government.
All right, Mr. Nabar, but what kind of gestation period do you believe that this could take? Do you think it's a couple of years? Do you think it's 3 years? What's your take?
No. So I think people can already start importing buses, or at least the engines which are which can run on 100% ethanol, and that could start right away. But I think to get to a sizable level, I think we have to wait for a year or a couple of years, I would say.
Okay. If the demand for ethanol goes up significantly, if it has to be enough for vehicles and as an auto fuel as well, do you see the prices of the realization on ethanol moving up?
I think what could happen is right now, we are looking at around 5 to 10% blending. I think we're moving from 5% to 10%. And I think right now we are also looking at all the molasses in India getting consumed, and furthermore, some part of sugar syrup and sugar juice also getting consumed into making ethanol. I think the next step would be to go for a second generation, which is biomass-based fuels. And I think that would certainly help in going in the right direction. I think price mechanism is already set by the government, and I think it's right now fairly attractive. So I don't think there would be any major change in that.
Have you heard from the government how soon they will be able to implement this, A? And do you have the required infrastructure to go ahead and, increase your ethanol blending, say up to 85% as is needed?
No, so we are in touch, but we have not heard anything on that so far from the government. But I think as far as infrastructure is concerned, I think it can be built fairly quickly. I don't think that is going to be the bottleneck.
All right, Mr. Nabar, thanks so much for joining in. By the way, just take a look at the stock after those comments coming in from the management, sounding rather confident, rather optimistic as well. That stock, in fact, is high with a gain of close around 11% as we speak.
He said, right, if you want to implement it, you can always import the buses. You can always import it from overseas.
All right, then. So some good statements coming in there. Stock is high.